Hello and welcome to this week's movie review. Today we're reviewing Kong, Skull Island, and it's directed by Jordan Roberts, produced by Thomas Tull. The story is based on a book by John Gattins and Dan Gilroy, and based on King Kong by Merian C. Cooper and Edgar Wallace. This latest reboot is a welcome addition to the King Kong legacy. The latest 2017 American action monster movie is directed by Jordan Roberts and written by Max Bernstein and Dan Gilroy. Produced by the Legendary Pictures and Tencent Pictures, and is distributed by the big screens by Warner Bros. Pictures. Among the cast are Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, and an ensemble of many more characters. The filming has taken place in Hawaii. The film in the early 1970s. It's based during the end of the Vietnam War, and it focuses on an unknown organisation called Monarch, who have discovered Skull Island on the satellite images that are orbiting over Hawaii, but in this case the South Pacific. It's an unexplored South Pacific island. Monarch manages to get back in from the United States, and an expedition reveals a Goliath ape called Kong. Kong is the nucleus that drives the battle of this domination of this mysterious island against these giant reptilian creatures named skull crawlers, apex predators responsible for wiping out Kong's family. This team of individuals that are on the expedition are a mismatch with different agendas. Initially, the team encounter Kong and escaping. They eventually realise that the only hope from escaping this wild savage island is through Kong's help. From the get-go, you are amazed by the sheer scale of Kong's ecosystem, full of life and mountainous environments. Hawaii was the perfect location for this movie. The scientists and hired military, led by Preston Packard, a lieutenant colonel in the Sky Devils helicopter squadron, have just finished a tour in Vietnam and are hired by Monarch. They fly helicopters into the storm system that protects the island from anyone coming in. They use helicopters, so you get a feel that it's a bit like Top Gun in the initial start off, mixed with Predator, and you get that vibe of Jurassic Park. But this all adds to the feel and fun of this action-packed movie. And I must say, Kong is absolutely magnificent. He's huge, giant of a creature. Initially, the normal helicopters from the Vietnam War, they fly in, and the camera angles are brilliant. They follow it straight into the action. And straight away, Kong's chucking trees into helicopters, swatting them around like flies. And there's little that the expedition can do but run for their lives. Tom Hiddleston plays James Conrad, a ex-British Army SAS captain, and he served in the Vietnam War, and he's hired by Monarch as a hunter tracker by Randa, who's the lead expedition. He's one of the more believable characters, and his acting feels genuine throughout the film. Samuel L. Jackson plays Preston Packard. As again, I'll repeat myself, he was a lieutenant colonel leader of the Sky Devil Squadron. He is very bitter about leaving the Vietnam War, and he refuses to leave this island without killing and destroying Kong. His attitude is an eye for an eye. John Goodman, average act, a supporting role, not much to tell. I would have expected a little humour here and there, but it was a straight carbon, black and white character. Brie Larson. Of course, Kong's got to have a woman involved, and he's got to have a. It seems throughout these Kong movies that there can only be a genuine human interaction if they're female, and in this case, it's the photojournalist Mason Weaver. Um, um, so they're all coming to this island and they're looking at things a different kind of way. Um, and the best actor throughout the film is John C. Reilly. He's called Hank Marlowe. He's basically a World War II pilot. He's a lieutenant, and he'd spent 28 years on Skull Island, and he pretty much knows everything what goes on there, like the animals, where to go, and he lives with the Iwi natives that they're a small group of people that worship the Kong as a cult. But very little to say about them. I believe Kong is the way he's been designed is based on the true original film in 1933. He's got more protruding features like his head and teeth. So there's that more savagery instead of cartoony Planet of the Apes kind of ape, whereas this is just more raw and his expressions are exaggerated, and they've done a really good job. As we talk about the ecosystem that he lives in, there are a number of creatures that the expedition face, like a spider and these water buffalo, humongous creatures that have evolved into such a unnatural size. And you see how vulnerable humans are around these animals or monsters, and that's part of the agenda why Monarch wants to try and find and destroy these beasts to preserve, in their eyes, the human race. The skull crawlers are absolutely brutal, reptilian creatures that devour predatory. Animal design is believable, and there's really good combat scene fighting. There's no to-in and throw-in, where I felt that in the Godzilla movie there was a lot of to-in and throw-in, but in this you were exposed to a real treat of explosions, guns, midi guns, napalm, you name it, it's in it. Some of the negatives, I believe some of the believability of the characters is a little bit weak. The SAS captain and the photographer, they have an interaction, but there's nothing really much to talk about. As I say again, Hank Marlowe is the only one that's, I believe, got a believable storyline. The natives, I think, have been a waste of time. They don't speak. I think we didn't need to have that in this film. They could have been edited out or just completely axed out of the original script, and more action more focus on the existing party, or more action that we all love. And I do think there could have been a little bit of humour which would make it more natural. But I believe if we talk about action, I'll give that an 8 out of 10. The acting, I give 7 out of 10. Special effects were absolutely superb, 9 out of 10. And overall, I'm going to give it a rating of 8 out of 10.